Hi everyone, it's Heidi from flutterbyheidi.co.uk. Back again with another project for you, and continuing my theme of cakes, here we have another piece of cake builder. I keep calling it cake builder, it's called piece of cake. Piece of cake stamp set card, and this time it's a little cake shop. I've used up my DSP because it's a case of I need to get this used up before it all retires. You don't have to decorate the inside, but you can if you like. On the one I'll demonstrate, I'll just decorate the front just because it'll just save a little bit of time. But as I said in my other video where we made this card, which if you remember we did using blends and picking up ink from an ink pad. So that was our accordion fan fold card. This time I'm actually using something I haven't used on video very much at all, which is the watercolour pencils. So this is set 1, this is the original set, and you'll see it's got some lovely bright colours in it that I'll be using today. And I've actually gone for some more of the not tranquil tide, that is one of the colours in it, some more of the tranquil textures. Yes, designer series paper. Let me just squeeze that in here. So this is using all these different sort of colours here. I almost used this one actually, this about the crumb cake, almost because that reminded me of like cake texture. Maybe that would have been a better idea, but hey, I've done it now. So I've gone for one of the other colours, which is the soft sea foam. So that's the reverse of this paper here. So that's quite a strong pattern, but I just thought I'd go for the slightly lighter one in the soft sea foam, just to give a little bit of textured contrast there as well. Excuse me, I've got a bit of a frog in my throat. I have had a bit of a chest infection, so I'm a little bit croaky, so do bear with me. So let's get on with the card. Construction is very straightforward. It's a standard gatefold card. So you're going to need a piece of card which is 10.5 centimetres in width, so half a sheet of A4, and you're going to trim that down to 28 centimetres, and the reason for that is just to make it nice and easy for you to do those gates on the end. And once you've trimmed it to 28, you're going to, because that probably wasn't visible, 28 centimetres, you're going to be scoring at 7 centimetres and 21 centimetres. So here's our 7 and 21, or obviously you could score in 7 from each end. Okay, so that's our scoring done. We then need some DSP and we need some card. So our card pieces, you want 6 by 9.5 centimetres. So I'm going to trim this to 9.5. And then again at 2 pieces at 6 and 6 again. And now again, if you wanted to decorate the inside, you'd want 4 pieces like that. So you've got 2 there. I'm also going to cut my DSP. So my DSP is 6 by 9.5 centimetres. So let's cut this at 6. Again, just make sure you butt that up to the top there. And I've done a rubbish job there because actually I meant to cut it at 9.5. A bit wasteful of my DSP there. So 2 pieces, 6 by 9.5. And then you want a piece to go along the edge of the card on the inside. So that's for this piece here. So I've cut my card to 14 by 3. So I want my DSP to be 2.5 by 14. So this is longer than the 14, so I'm going to cut it to 2.5, and it's the usual, it's a small measurement, so we're going to do it on the right hand side. So 2.5, and then just trim that down to 14, like so. And I'm going to pop all my bits and pieces to one side. And let's create our layers. Okay, so all you need to do is just pop some glue on the back of each of those and pop those layers, which I have cut wrong. Those should be 10 centimetres. Okay, well those should be 10 centimetres, so let's grab some more card. Okay. Best laid plans and all that. That's what happens when you try and read your measurements. Okay, so the card pieces should be 6.5 by 10 centimetres. So let's cut this to 10 centimetres. And then trim to 6.5 twice. Right, that might work slightly better now. Okay, so my piece that's already got some glue on. Oh look, that looks much better now, doesn't it? Okay, and then I can pop some tape on the reverse. And you'll notice on this one I've got a little bit of a slightly furry edge. That's quite easily dealt with, or just pop along with a little nail file and that'll trim that off quite nicely. So there's our two pieces. We just want to do our strip for the bottom as well. So that just pops along the middle, and you've just got a top and bottom border on that one, like so. Then we can come in. Let's hope I haven't made any other mistakes, so hopefully this will now work. Just oh yeah, there we go, reinforce those creases, and then you're going to pop this strip across the bottom on the inside of our card, like so, and then pop those two panels on the front of the card. On that, unfortunately I've just caught that, so I'm just going to come in with my scissors and just trim just very slightly, tiny little sliver, just so that, there you go, that folds over. There we go. It's just because it's got slightly more width to it than I would prefer. I perhaps, yeah, just need to trim. So I'm just trimming that DSP layer and the card below. And I'll do the same on the other side. I probably should have cut it just to about 13.8, just to give a little bit of a better fit. And I'm just going to come in and just reinforce that crease. So pop it face down and pop your panels on the front there. I get the feeling you probably shouldn't have videoed today. Oh dear, it is going to be one of those, isn't it? Everything I'm going to want is not to hand. And I'm going to get myself in a mess, but hey, this is what happens when you craft live. I don't do the editing. Well, you get what you get. Okay, so not my best ever gatefold card, but by the time it's open, nobody's going to notice the difference. Let's get on with the important bit, which is the colouring. So you're going to take your Memento ink pad, and you're going to just choose which of your images you're going to use. So in this instance, I'm going to use my chocolate cake image, which is the one that's, of course, right, there we go. So Memento ink it up really well, and then come in and stamp. And if you're not stamping onto a pad of grid paper, then I would recommend that you stamp onto a stamping pierce mat. On the other side of the block, I've also got the cake stand, so I'm going to come in and stamp that as well. And then I'm going to come in with my watercolour pencils. So in this instance, I'm going to be using this Early Espresso here, and I'm also going to use my basic grey as well, which I've got here. And I'm going to use my Stampin' Blend my blender pen rather. So with the chocolate cake, with this, it's really important that you keep it nice and soft. So keep it at a really soft angle and just colour very lightly all over. You can go slightly heavier at the sides. That will help get some shading, and then lightly over the middle. So I'm going to just colour slightly heavier. There you go. That'll just help create some shading. So that's my cake. I'm then going to come in and do my cake stand. So again, keep your pencil at an angle, quite firm on the outside edges, and then a bit lighter in the middle. So firm, firm, and a bit lighter. And then come in, just with sort of, you'll see little stuff. I'm using sort of the darker tip on those bits, and then nice and light. And that way you've got a bit of shading already. The magic happens when you come in with your blender pen. So always wipe your blender pen to make sure it's working, okay? And then you just wipe over, in effect, where you've gone, and all of a sudden all those little marks just disappear, and you get your really pretty shaded effect. Do the same with the brown. I'm just checking that I've got one. I'm just going to wipe that, make sure it's clear. Okay, and then I'm going to come in from the side, from the other side, and you'll see, here we go, all that shading. And there we have a lovely chocolate cake. Next, all I need to do is come in with my punch and punch my cake stand. Come in from the other side and punch my cake. And there we have my cake and stand all ready to go. I've already stamped a couple of these others, so just to show you the same effect again, I'm coming in with my I think it's Melon Mambo on this one. In fact, I used Rich Raspberry before, so let's do a bit of Melon Mambo. So I'm just coming in quite dark on the bits I want darker. I'm going to go all over quite softly and quite sort of circular kind of pattern. Can you see there? A bit firmer and darker here, and then a bit lighter to get my all over background colour there. And then I'm going to come in with the tip now. So, and with my stripes, just come in slightly darker. And then I can just use my blender pen. I think I've used this one. There we go. And as I said, all of a sudden, there's some magic happens when you just go over everything with that blender pen. I missed one there, but it just evens it out so beautifully, and you just come little circles, and then the same on that. And you can see, just keeps it really simple. So there's my cake. I'll punch my other little cake out, and then so the addition of a blender pen, so the watercolour pencils, really makes it super easy to get a really pretty effect. So all I'm going to do now is create my layers on my card front. And I'm going to stamp some candles as well, because what would a cake be without candles? So I just need so I'll use a scrap of Whisper White that I've got here. Here are my candles in my memento. And I've clearly got something on one of those stamps. That just means it's missing slightly. Let's try it again. There we go. Okay, and for these candles, what I'm doing is I'm cutting up, which I did in one of my other videos, and I'm just just very, using my scissors, wiggling the scissors around to create some candles, which I'm then going to just colour using the residual colour in here with a bit of pink. You could do more of that if you wanted. And then to glue these, I'm actually using some fine glue here, and I'm using it's just in a Tombow in a fine tip bottle, which just makes it a little bit easier to pop on. So we'll pop our cake stand, then we can pop our cake, which is one. And actually what I'm going to do is actually stamp those candles direct onto the card. So we pop our layer here, and then a bit of memento. Make sure I have nothing underneath that. We have some candles. I can pop my cake next to it. Let's have a little bit of chocolate cake there. And obviously I'm not using dimensionals on the inside of the card because that will stop it closing quite so flat, but you can use dimensionals on the front panels. So just come in with our left hand side, so let's pop our last little one. Oh, and I'm getting glue everywhere. I told you this was a card that was never meant to happen, I think. Pop my cake stand here. Pop my cake. And what I'm actually going to do is pop my candles that I've cut out, which actually don't look particularly pink there now. A bit of glue on those, you'll see, just look. I told you, not going to be a good one. There you go. So just pop those in place, pop a little bit of glue on the back there. There you go. It looks really, that pink always looks really pretty with the green. And I'm actually going to have a blue cake, because why not? We can have blue cake if we want to. And I'm going to grab, well, I'm not, because I have misplaced them. I was going to grab a glue dot, but I haven't. A dimensional even. So instead of which, I've just got some of my strips here. So they've come up a little bit higher, but that's fine. It works just in exactly the same way. Just cut a couple of strips of the long strips instead. Let's pop our cake on the front here. Then we can do the same on the other side. So again, create our little cake stand. The cake stands, I find, I generally prefer to glue flat because it saves cutting lots and lots of little cakes out. And it's a real multicoloured. I'm just going to punch out one I prepared earlier. Again, a little bit of glue here. And what you can do is, obviously, I've shown on one of my other ones, but if you wanted to, you could always trim down a cake stand as well. Let's create another little chocolate cake here. And again, a couple of pieces of adhesive strip, and we're all done. So you could obviously add a sentiment onto this if you wanted to. I've kept it without a sentiment for the moment, just because I think the cake kind of says it all, really. So there we have a pair of birthday cake cards using the new piece of cake and cake builder punch, and this time we've coloured using our watercolour pencils and a blender pen rather than a watercolour brush. I hope you've enjoyed it. Come back and see me again soon, and don't forget, if you'd like to